Dr. Tommy Nash. I am the owner of COGA, the nation's #1 leadership instructor. And again, I welcome you to Summerfest 21. I will be talking to you today about thinking like a successful leader. More importantly, how to stop managing and start leading. So, why are you here? To get right down to business, you're here for one or two reasons. You want to become a better leader to further your career, but you don't know how to do it, or you don't have the necessary skills or know where to get those skills. And reason two, you have the title of leader, but don't feel that you have the influence that normally comes along with being a leader. How do I know this? These are the same challenges that I see all the time when I talk to visionaries and they face the same kind of problems that I'm talking about now. It's a problem that I have studied for years and I know how to solve them. That reminds me, in case we haven't met, I am Dr. Tommy Nash. Hello. Where do I come in? What do I do? Today, I am a professional speaker and leadership consultant. That means I assist ambitious individuals and other people with acquiring and implementing leadership practices. In other words, I help them better their skills to be effective leaders. Formerly, I was a 25-year career naval officer in charge of training men and women to do exactly what some of the things I'm telling you about today at high level procedures and securities. By way of introduction, I'm Mississippi born and raised, born in Duck Hill, Mississippi. Really small town, deep family values, as it is in the South. As I said before, I'm a United States naval officer. I'm a world traveler, ship driver, ballistic missile shooter. And the Navy tried for 25 years to get rid of my Mississippi accent, but I was told they didn't do a very good job because they told me I still have it. Now, it's a little bit extra if you want to hear some storytelling. Government contractor, 2006 to 2009, and federal government employee from 2009 to the present. Again, I'm the owner of COGA, which stands for Child of God Always, the nation's #1 leadership development and instructor. I'm an author, The Leading Edges, leading from the front, back, sides, and top to bottom. I'm a co-author of an anthology, Step into Leadership Greatness. Leadership isn't just a title. It's an international bestseller, by the way. With over 25 years of naval officer leadership and 15 years of private industry, which equals a 40-year leadership experience, my mission is to help clients identify their goals and how to achieve them. And over those 40 years, I have seen some good and I've seen some bad leadership practices. Some of my services, professional speaker, online course, and leadership training, consulting, and the rest of it listed here, but not all inclusive. And just so you know, I am available, I am ready, and I'm willing to help. So I guess you're wondering, where do I come in? Well, first of all, let's get back to you, back to the reason for being here. The first reason that you're here, working on yourself. We will cover strategies that will help leaders become better, more effective leaders. The second reason, determining leadership influence. It's all about the buy-in. That will be covered as well. That's what we're talking about. Well, now, when we're talking about pain points, no two organizations are the same, but they do share commonalities when you're talking about pain points. And that's what you need to remove when you start talking about effective leadership. And some of these pain points are exactly what I do. I remove the pain points. Now, what are some of the pain points that are similar? Well, the #1 reason for people leaving the jobs is bad leadership. You wouldn't have no idea. So what some of the devastating impacts it has. Organizational leadership progression, it should be scaled to growth and clearly define expectation. If you don't define your expectation, they don't know what to achieve to. Pain points continue. Poor communication. I am a firm believer that communication is vital at every stage of leadership. I don't care what it is and who it is, it's vital. Communicate, and communicate some more. Meaningful connection. People are looking to fill voids at the workplace now, especially with the pandemic. And that's a segue into the burnout, stress, and anxiety. With the pandemic, people are burnt out. They're stressed and anxiety. But it's not simply all because of the pandemic. You have workload, or you may have some things going on at home, but those are pain points that need to be removed. So effective leadership traits and characteristics. While I talk about this, I'll give you a chance to look over this and talk and see what some of the valuable traits are. We talk about integrity. That's a good one. And I already mentioned about effective communicators. That's always good. Influence. self-reflection. And we'll talk about self-reflection later. But given the above, what do you think an effective leader is? An effective leader, it has passion for a cause that is larger than they are. And one thing you need to remember as a leader, it is not, I say again, it is not about the leaders. A vision that will better others, that's what it's all about. Better others, including the team and the organization and society. Because when I say society, because it's not always about the workplace, it's outside of the workplace too. Leadership has so many impacts. And another thing you need to remember, leadership is not just about a title at the beginning of your name or on the door. It's so much more than that. Besides that, some of the best leaders don't even have titles. So what is a leader's job? If some of you are old enough to remember Spike Lee's movie, Do the Right Thing. Well, that's what I'm talking about here, doing the right thing. Not only when people are around, but when others are not looking. You're setting direction. You're just like a shepherd. You're guiding your people in the right direction. That's what they need. They need to give them that vision. First and foremost, leaders must take care of the people. Bottom line, I learned a long time ago in the Navy that while the Navy may have a mission, you can't do the mission without the people. The same thing goes for the organization. Organization has a mission, but the mission cannot be completed without its people. With that in mind, I tell you, do not neglect. Knowing the difference, this is important. We get into the meat now. Everyone is, or I might want to say should be, striving for self-presentation. You need to know where your self-worth, you need to know your self-reflection, so you can know how to help others. Because if you don't reflect on yourself, you can't help others. So how can leaders make this change? First and foremost, they can start by leading more and managing less. But they must know the difference between managing and leading. So let me ask you, are you someone people want to follow? When you really think about it, do people flock to you because of your leadership abilities, your leadership styles? It may seem like a silly question now, but think about it. And you have a little while to think about it. Just think to yourself. And while all leaders are managers, all managers are not leaders. And being an effective leader means so much more than managing. Effective leaders inspire and motivate, and while still managing to plan. To make things more complicated, most people don't know where management stops and leadership starts. Again, how do I know this? I ask that question every day, all the time when I work with clients. And guess what? Some of my clients are senior leaders and executives in big and small companies, and they don't know where management stops and leadership starts. The best leaders in the world have known for quite some time, though, how to effectively manage. They understand that they need to step out of management robe and slip on the leadership garments. There's a time and place for each. But if you want to be a more effective leader, you cannot lean on managerial skills. Otherwise, your leadership habits and your leadership ability will be short-circuited. Management, when is it important? Before I go on, don't get me wrong now. Management, I'm not saying management is bad. Managers are not bad. Management is good. But if you want to be a leader, let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard the manager of the free world or the leader of the free world? That's what I'm talking about. If we're talking about looking to ensure the survival of what already exists, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but not in detail, but some. Because management is predictable, it's measurable, and it's repeatable, because they need to predict, control, and manage processes. And again, management is okay. It's a tremendous value, but only as it pertains to the current situation of sustainability. Leadership, on the other hand, is the realization of a future that was not going to happen anyway. It is not about giving great speeches or being liked or charismatic. I know what you're saying, but Dr. Tommy, what about a charismatic leader? That's fine, but that charismatic leader has other leadership traits combined with being liked. So it's just not being liked by itself. It's more about having charisma. But leadership is about delivering results and realizing futures that were not predicted to happen at all. That's why the executives are paid the big bucks. And leadership is typically not an I thing, but a we thing. And leaders want to always try to do a buy-in or influence. It is impossible. I say again, it is impossible to manage something doesn't yet exist. That's why I pointed out a few minutes ago, and I pointed out again later. You have to know that leaders are concerned not just about the here and now, but about the future as well. And that is the critical difference between management and leaders. If leaders want to grow and continue to thrive, they need to know the difference between the two paradigms. You have management here, you have leadership here. Which one do you want? So let's talk about the bottom line stuff here. Where management stops and leadership starts. Management controls the day-to-day operations, focuses on deadlines, solves immediate problems. Now, leadership envisions a new future, creates a pathway forward, and solve problems. Hey, but you just said management solve problems. I did. I said management solve immediate problems, but the leadership solves future issues as well. And also leadership inspires change. So become the difference. Let's get down to the point here. You don't want to be a manager forever, do you? No, of course not. You want to be a leader, right? The whole point of having your name on the door is not to say I did it, but it is to say I led a group of people toward a common goal, and we totally crushed it. You want to be a leader because you're working toward the organization goals. You're building your team. You're working them towards your own a similar goal as well. Okay, that's what it's all about. Don't get stuck in management. Now that you have what you're striving to achieve, please avoid some of the similar mistakes that leaders always do. They work hard, diligently to get to where they want to be, and then guess what they do? They let it all slip away by becoming managers again, lost in the chaos. Don't do that. Leaders have the chance to understand effective leadership from all levels, okay? And they understand and apply the principle that leadership is not a title to be given, but a respect and influence to be earned. I'll say that one more time. Leadership is not a title to be given, but a respect and influence to be earned. Without this acceptance, this crucial acceptance, followers and employees will manage to get the job done, but guess what? The leaders will be left out of it. Mindset to think like a leader. How do leaders assess their mindsets? Well, I found one a really good method that's worked, and it's called LEAD, L-E-A-D, appropriately. Listen, engage, advise, and demonstrate. Let's talk about that for a second. Listen. Let them voice their concern. Listen to it in its entirety, okay? Do not jump in. Don't assume anything. Don't allow your prior knowledge to cloud your vision. And by all means, don't let your body language show up. Be open to listening. Engage. Repeat what you heard so that they understand that you're listening. Sometimes we tend to show our biases and tilt us one way or another. Don't do that. Repeat what you heard so they can say, hey, the speaker is you're interested in what the speaker is saying, and the situation is there. Advise. If necessary, you must be honest about your ability or inability to comment on the topic. And avoid at all costs, avoid the word should. Why? Because you are here to inform, not to dictate. Demonstrate. All I need to say about that, actions speak louder than words. Can you demonstrate the assistance or skill they need? Should you bring somebody else in? Do they feel like you heard them? By the way, it's not all about the leaders, but the employees and the followers. Become a leader. Many leaders don't really lead. They think they do, but in reality, they just follow the path that's already been set by other people and other business, rather than setting their own course. And others just shift around indecisively, and they become nothing but more than overpaid followers because they follow and replicate everything they've seen before. That's all they do. And if leaders are continuing to lead a team and organization, is not adding change, it's time to pivot. It's time to change course. No, don't stay the course, change. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting change, guess what? You see the definition of insanity? That would be it. The work of a true leader adds something. True leaders, they create value. They don't just make money. They come there and they help remove some of the pain points from A to Z, not from A to B. They help you remove that. And then if they can't, that's what good leaders do. That's why I keep telling you, COGA is the place to be. True leaders drive forward, drive towards something that's currently missing. Many leaders fall back on generic solutions, and they have a mindset sometimes that only works, but if the what's currently being done works. But again, it's only suitable or beneficial for specific organization and in the circumstances or given situation. Become a leader still. True leaders is leadership is specific, substantial, and set his own course. A true leader understands his or her organization, and guess what? They take time listening and thinking and developing their understanding. And they know every move that they make, it has to have the potential of success. Leaders influence and managers direct. Yes, they do. Leaders influence and managers direct. While it may not be so transparent, leaders generally do focus on what may be now and what why. So while managers focus on how, okay, but both of them are important and they both use similar influences at different times. But keep in mind, leaders have a partiality to influence and motivating and empowering, and if through advice and counsel, while managers tend to say, okay, I am biased to command and control. It's one of the big differences. Establish expectations. Why? Because leaders, one of the best things they can start doing, first off, is making the hard decisions. And you want to establish expectation, because if you don't sit down with employees and give them the expectation, guess what? They won't know what is expected because they cannot achieve what is expected. Communicate. I said this once, I'm going to say it again. Communicate, communicate, communicate is key at all levels of leadership, okay? Take time each day to verify with your employees what their daily expectations are. Make sure everyone, including yourself, know what's going on that day. Listen. And I mean, just don't be the one always doing the talking. Be open to listening. And when I say listen, listen for understanding. Don't let it go in one ear out the other. Listen for understanding. If an employee is in the meeting expectation, have a private conversation. Why are they struggling? Again, it's not all about the leaders. It's not. But what you need to do, continue to ask questions and mostly listen. All right? Get to the root cause. That way you can get progress moving once again. Employee development methods, coaching and mentoring. This one thing as a leader, when you can stop managing and start leading. Coaching and mentoring, very, very similar. It's just that coaching is very much shorter and more structured. Mentoring, they both use more experienced people to advise and counsel the less experienced people. That's all it is. Collaborative culture. Let's talk about that. Collaboration is regular and deliberate. It's not by accident. It's not an accidental process. It doesn't just occur. It's baked into the process of how we do business every day. So if somebody tells you collaboration, oh, we just happen on it, that's not true. It should be regular and deliberate. And while we're talking about it, build a collaborative culture, let's talk about this. Invest in technology that brings teams together. Make collaboration a priority. Set the same goals, similar goals. You can't have some of your team members here working on a goal and some of them working on a different goal. You have to have a similar goal, same goal. Help team members build bonds. If you don't, you will have confusion in your ranks. You will have confusion in your team, and you will not be as productive. Make room for remote team members. You know, we've been doing the remote working from home for about a year and a half. Some of us may be getting ready to go back, but you know, you can say that the pandemic taught us a lot. It brought out a lot of exposed items. And you need to, one thing it did bring out that you need to remain in contact with your team, with your team members. How can you do that? Freaking feedback. You know, you don't have to always talk via email. Give them a call. Call them. That shows leadership that no one else would even think about. Call them every now and then. If you don't want to call them, send them an email, but not to the group. Just send them an individual email. Trustworthy and accountable. Employees aren't the only one with expectation. We expect leaders to be that beacon, that beam, that spotlight everybody looking to for leadership. And they must live up to the employees' expectation and their own. Because I say that because of self-reflection. They must remove that plank from their own eye. before attempting to remove the splinter from somebody else's. Know your craft, and if they don't know the craft, leaders will be exposed. Be mindful, okay? Leaders are human. Leaders are human, and they will make mistakes. But they must be accountable, but they still will make mistakes. But what they must do, take those mistakes and make something positive out of them, okay? Openness to innovative ideas. Again, employees are on the front line. They don't see everything that goes up to the leaders, but they see a lot of it. And so you got to let them know what's happening. And they have a purpose there. Again, the organization have a mission, but guess what? It cannot complete without the employees. And listen to the employees. I will tell you from self-experience here that some of the best ideas are generated from the middle ranks and at the lower tier. And I can tell you, they always come up with great ideas. Listen to them. Empower employees. Give employees every opportunity to better themselves. Send them, if you have the budget for it, send them to training. And then when they come back, ask them to report what they learned. And then you can try to implement it. You know why? Iron sharpen iron. You can increase their productivity. Okay, help your employees set personal goals and then help them achieve them. Show them that you trust them. Trust is always talked about as the bedrock of a company's success, but they look at it in terms of customer service. But I would beg to differ and tell you that it should be that trust should be built among all your team members or your organization, because if you don't, you have that lack of trust, you're going to have lack of productivity. Support. Don't simply talk about it, be about it. Leaders, you have specialized training. You started somewhere. Some of them don't act like it, but they started somewhere, okay? They must remember that, and they must have an open door policy. Let them know. Let the employees know your resource if they need something, if they draw on when they're stuck or need assistance. Come to you, come to the leaders, you can help them out. That's what it's all about. Be an example, but I like to say be the example, because you let employees see your work. Don't just go in your office and talk through email or Skype or whatever communication means you have. Get out, get about, get out and get about. Engage with the employees and share goals and let them know how things are going. Then they'd be more willing to come back and report to you, that you let them know some of their ideas. Be the coach. One thing the great coaches do, find the strength of their athletes and put them in the best position to win or to shine. Teach them to fish, okay? Teach them to fish, and then evaluate your employees and discover their strengths. And you know what? If you're teaching them to fish, then you have a fisherman. Give them every opportunity to excel. Get them out of the stands and into the game. Let me tell you, leadership is not easy. I would say that up front. Leadership isn't easy, but it can have benefits that improve leaders' lives and employees' lives, an organization, workplace. Morale, higher staff retention, a whole litany of items will be benefited from great leadership. And the whole thing of it, it would be a satisfying job. So in summary, what did we talk about? What was discussed here? I said, while you're here, as you know the difference, don't get stuck in management, become the difference. Mindset, to think like a leader, become a leader. And as we talked about, the expectations would include communicate, empowerment, listening, and setting the example. So I want to thank you for your time. And one more time, who benefits from effective leaders and effective leadership? Organizations, communities, individuals, families. In essence, everyone benefits. Everyone benefits, because it's not just a workplace thing here. It's a family thing and a community thing. That's what it is. Again, you are here by purpose, not by circumstance. Let us work together and ensure immediate improvements in your lives. COGA leads the way. Here's my contact information. I am still Dr. Tommy Nash. Here's my LinkedIn information, my email, Facebook information as well. And if you're interested, there's my online course, Leadership Intelligence Creates Leadership Champions. And as I spoke to before, COGA, the nation's #1 leadership instructor. That information at the bottom of the screen here. You can. That's my website. And again, if you want one of my books, the book patch in Amazon, that's where you can find the leading edges, leading from the front, back, sides, and top to bottom, and the co-author anthology as well, Step into Leadership Greatness. As again, it's a bestseller. I thank you sincerely for listening to me. Thank you so much. And I don't think I have anything else for you, but if I do, I feel free to reach out to me. Thank you very much.